From the College Fix, April 14th, Antifa, others threaten Candace Owens event at U, Pennsylvania. I actually wasn't that far away from this, so I'm kind of bummed that I didn't make it, because I would have went to check it out. But apparently, there's a video going around of Candace Owens being harassed by a bunch of white people, and they're screaming and swearing at her. And it's kind of funny, because the left often talks about something called progressive stack. What is that, you ask? The progressive stack states that white people should essentially back away to allow marginalized voices the chance to speak. Unless or until that marginalized voice disagrees with you, because then the response is to put on a mask, bring some weapons, and scream in their face and threaten them, because that's what they do. I love the complete and utter hypocrisy of the left identitarians, who tend to be overwhelmingly white and racist. They claim they're not racist, but clearly, by their own logic, if they show up and surround a black woman and harass her and scream at her and threaten her, yeah, you're the racist. Isn't it funny? The narrative we often see, like there's a show on CBS called The Good Fight. This video is going viral that depicts a bunch of red jackets showing up at a polling station to intimidate black people. No, it was the other way around. It's Candace Owens, a black woman, trying to speak about her views on her identity and being surrounded by a bunch of white people who are screaming at her, sorry, from the left. So before we get into the video, and Kellyanne Conway chimed in, we're going to read what they were threatening before. So they say, TP USA, Turning Point, Candace Owens is scheduled to speak at the University of Pennsylvania on Monday, April 15th. She did. And as expected, radicals have their collective panties in a bunch about it. That's a funny way to put it. The UPenn Statesman was made aware of some not-so-veiled threats regarding the event, including one which says, I'm not saying anyone should throw water or eggs at her for speaking, but Walmart does sell coyote urine in a bottle and balloons. Right. This person said, Candace Owens is coming to Penn next week. 3 likes and I will attempt to throw an overripe tomato at her. Threatening violence, it's a crime. Antifa Philly said, Hitler-admiring far-right anti-immigrant fear-monger Candace Owens brings her outrageously wrong and backwards ideology to UPenn on Monday. For real, y'all are an Ivy League school. Y'all should have that revoked. That's wrong. Fellow worker Gritty, Turning Point USA director Candace Owens is scheduled to speak. Since the event was announced, the community has organized to shut down this engagement early. I don't think it was shut down. I don't know, but I've got the other video. Owens is appearing on behalf of the Statesman at the UPenn College Republicans. Over the past week, the paper reports, several members of both student organizations have noticed the removal of flyers they had placed around campus in addition to individuals going out of their way to intentionally cover up Owens' posters, which is totally, expected. They say recently TPUSA Director of Communications tore into Democratic members of the House, especially California's Ted Lieu, who took a very short snippet of what Candace Owens was saying about Germany. And it's a really, really weird phenomenon, okay? Because I know I've gone over this quite a bit, but Candace Owens said something to the effect that if Hitler just wanted to make Nazi Germany great, that would have been fine. And the way I first interpreted that was like replace Hitler with any name. Like if anybody wanted to make X place great, it's fine. Like that is a general statement that is really vague and kind of means nothing. What was confusing is that all of a sudden everyone's saying, oh my God, how dare she say that? And I'm like, wait. You're saying, like, you have to, listen, it's, when I first heard that statement, it sounded like Candace was saying Hitler did not want to make Germany great. That he was actually trying to chase some weird thing to make everyone German and go global with it. I didn't think of it the way they did, but I think what they did, like, it's like they shared this and then they all assumed that was the intent. But it's kind of weird because that would require you to believe she was saying that Hitler was making, was actually doing, like, you see what I'm trying to say? I was confused by it, like, wait, does Ted Lieu think Hitler was actually, like, Ted Lieu thinks that was good stuff. He thinks that was great. Candace Owens was criticizing the idea of globalism and nationalism. And she said if he was just trying to make it great, it's fine. But he wasn't. I'm like, right, he absolutely wasn't. They think she was? I don't know. The whole thing was really weird. And that's what kind of pissed me off. Because I don't know how you even come to the conclusion that she was pro-Hitler in that statement. It's just total BS. Sebastian Mort, currently a research scholar at Center for Media at Risk at UPenn's Annenberg School for Communication, chimed in. Racist, propagandist, white natalism, enabler. What? You're a white dude, man. And viral deception agent Candace Owens has been invited by Penn GOP to speak on campus. CO is hard at work rewriting history, calling Strat a myth. Dude, speak English. This is a white dude claiming a black person of promoting white nationalism. Isn't that insane? It was, God, who said it? Somebody called her a white supremacist. Like, if you're a white dude and you call a black person a white supremacist, that's insane. And look at this, they got a Kanye West tweet. I love the way Candace Owens thinks. If Kanye West thinks so, imagine where you are in the political compass, where Kanye West, everyone freaked out. It's like, dude, celebrities, they're people like regular Americans do not believe the fringe wackadoo stuff you guys believe. One person, these are just random Twitter people, like it's fine. But Kellyanne Conway chimed in saying, this is frightening. Where are all the usual voices screaming racism and sexism? The white students hiding beneath masks, screaming at Candace Owens is nuts. Does a young conservative black woman deserve less protection and less freedom because of her political views? And that's a really good point. Wow. Here I am agreeing with Kellyanne Conway because violence is wrong, intimidation is wrong. And for the love of God, how can we be in a world today where a bunch of white people surrounding a black person and screaming is considered acceptable by the left? Mind-blowing. So this is the video we have. It's really annoying, so I don't want to play it. But Candace Owens said, Antifa is here. Enjoy this video of the neo-KKK stalking and harassing me as I try to invite a group of peaceful black students into my event at UPenn. The Democrats' domestic terrorist arms strike again. Too bad we will never back down. We will be free Blexit. Listen, Candace Owens absolutely is having an identity politics conversation. But it's interesting. It's not identitarianism. It's her simply like pushing back on the left's identitarianism. And let me explain. Highlighting the issues of identity, I think, is absolutely fine. As I mentioned in my other videos, social justice is a good thing. Okay, and you can keep an eye on the video and check it out. The issue is the regressive left authoritarians who show up in a group of white people in masks berating, insulting, threatening individuals, saying they're going to throw urine on you or vegetables at you. Like, that's threatening violence against somebody. That's insane. I think Candace Owens having a conversation about how the left has treated them because the black community because of their identity, I agree with it. I 100% agree with Martin Luther King Jr., the civil rights movement, the LGBT rights movement. Everyone has a right to come up and say, here's what I experienced based on my identity and here's what I want solved. Even SJW types, even these people. The problem is the white people are the ones coming out and threatening people and doing all these things. Look, there are absolutely people who have certain experiences based on their identity they're upset about. If you're not going to be authoritarian, we're cool. Let's have that conversation. In fact, I talked to a communist in Berkeley who told me violence is wrong and he opposed Antifa violence. And I'm like, hey, spot on. Like, if you're a communist and you oppose the authoritarianism, we're cool. Like, we'll have a conversation. We'll talk about why you think that's the right thing to do. Because that's how you progress and find solutions. You have conversations. It's the throwing the punches to shut down the speech that doesn't make sense. So listen, I think the general idea of what identity politics is, it's not black or white. It's nuanced. And the civil rights movement was about identity issues, the black community, segregation, but it was opposing identity law, okay? Segregation was enforced in law, and they said none of this. Now what we enforce in law is restriction based on, what a business, it's the idea that you can't do something. It's complicated. It really is. And this is probably the perfect conversation to have about why it's nuanced. The government saying you can't discriminate based on X, in my opinion, is a good thing to an extent. The issue was the government enforced restrictions back in the day, and they were, you had culture and a government threatening people. Today, you have a lot of people. I'll actually cite the Jordan Peterson interview, I think, with Jim Jeffries, where Jordan Peterson said it's wrong for businesses to have to do something. And Jim said, what about civil rights? Businesses have to accommodate black people today. And Jordan said, maybe I was wrong about that. And I'm like, spot on. First of all, it's why one of the reasons I respect Jordan Peterson, because he's not a zealot. He's actually willing to entertain new ideas and have real conversations. And it also brings up a point about how Candace Owens wants to talk about identity politics. Totally fine. She wants to challenge the mainstream left-wing establishment and how they treat the black community. Absolutely, I agree. Let's have a conversation about it. The left-wing identitarians show up. They want absurd policies, taxation. They want being enrolled into schools. They do things that I think are bad. But more importantly, they're violent authoritarians. Because listen, I have friends who are far left, who are not violent authoritarians. They are identitarian. I have some friends who are like intersectional identitarian, all the weird wacky stuff, and we talk about it, and that's it. And they say the violence is wrong and all that. Absolutely, absolutely. Like even insofar as it comes to like this is what really blows my mind. When I sat down with alt-right people in was it Berkeley, I think it was, and everyone's shocked, and all these people on the left are smearing me, and I'm like, dude, they're not being violent towards me. They wanted to have a conversation, and I openly challenged their ideas, and I told the people that from that photo, you're losing, okay? And like my family is evidence of that. Over the past several decades, people in this country care less about these racial issues, and they want to come together under different ideas. Unfortunately, it's the far left that's re-invoking identitarianism. Okay, it's a complicated issue, and I certainly don't know where the lines are drawn, and I don't think I have all the answers, nor do I think I'm right all the time. What I can say is authoritarianism is the main problem. If you want to talk about how your identity is impacted by a system, yes, 100%. But when you start to attack people physically, threaten their safety, and shut down any and all debate, now you're a problem. So maybe it's not even necessarily about identitarianism, which so the distinction is identitarianism is like a government based on identity. That's bad. The identity we should have as Americans, and that's why I think the overarching umbrella should be, if you are in our country and participating in our system, you should serve anyone regardless of these certain characteristics. But it does get complicated. It's really challenging. I don't think I have all the answers. Anyway, long story short, Candace Owens is creating a mirror, in my opinion, a mirror to what the left really is. She talks about identity issues, the black community, and what they're facing. Very similar to what feminists and intersectional feminists do, but it's not Trump supporters showing up and attacking people and screaming at them. It's the left showing up and screaming at Candace Owens. That makes it should make you think, right? That even if you support identity politics in the system, why is it that the Trump supporters don't show up to feminist events screaming and surrounding them, but the left does that to Candace Owens? It's against their own logic. It makes no sense. Anyway, whatever, man. It's complicated. I'm going to end there. I got more videos for you every day starting tomorrow at 10 a.m. I will see you then.